Pretty much grew up in this church ever since she was 5 years old. Our daughter, Madeline Daniel, she's a junior at Dadeville High School. She's always had a love for Christ, always had a love for helping those in need. She's volunteered with several entities with mentally and physically handicapped children and adults both. This last summer she actually was at Camp Aska again. She's done that for several years. And then Robin Horton, she's a registered nurse that works with us currently. She's been a nurse for over 11 years. She's worked kind of the gamut. She's done newborn nursery, pediatrics, labor and delivery. She's currently with Lake Martin as Lake Martin Hospice. She's helped around the needy. She feeds. Woo. She's been feeding the needy at Thanksgiving time. She's volunteered with Meals on Wheels. Just very active in not only Tallapoosa County but surrounding counties as well. And then Chad McKelvey. Chad was born and raised here in Dadeville. He's a member of, or deacon actually, at First Baptist Church here in Dadeville. He's principal at the Edward Bell Career Technical Center. Now Chad, a lot of people who have kids or like to go to the ball fields, you may see him volunteering his time every year. He's on the ball fields with everybody's kids running to him and calling him coach. But we're up here this morning kind of to tell you about this exciting trip, this opportunity that we have. It's a mission trip. It's kind of specifically a medical mission trip. We've come upon this opportunity to come, and we're going to be traveling to remote mountainous regions of Honduras, actually, providing some medical care to those who can otherwise not access that care. That's one part of it. The other part of it is we're going to make disciples. We're going to make a difference with Jesus. We want them to have something to hold on to once we leave. We're going to make disciples who can then continue to go and make disciples. Now Chad's been on a few mission trips before. He's hiked through the jungles of Peru to Brazil. He's been to some of these remote regions in Honduras as well. So I'm going to turn it over to him and let him kind of tell you what he's seen and the benefits of these mission trips.
Good morning, everybody. I'm excited to be here and really excited about what the Lord is going to do through this church and through this mission team. Over the past few years, like Heath said, I had the opportunity to go on some mission trips, and each time the Lord started dealing with me personally to the point to where I said, that's something I want to be a part of. So I partnered up with a company out of Louisiana called XMA, or Extreme Missionary Adventures. And over the past year, went through a training process with them. And this past June was sort of the culmination of that process, and went on a trip where I sort of co-led a trip, a team into Honduras, and went up into the mountains and visited 3 villages over the course of about 5 days, and sat down with each of the pastors and said, if we were to come back, what is it that your village needs most of all? And all 3 of them said, without hesitation at all, we need medicine. And 3 pastors, 3 different villages, all said the same thing. So on the flight home, I had a flight from Houston over to Atlanta. I was by myself, nobody on the plane around me, and it was like God just sat down beside me and said, "All right, big boy, I gave you a challenge. What are you going to do with it?" And so I got home, and a couple of days later, I texted. I got to thinking, all right, who's in medicine that would be interested in this? So I texted a good friend, and who's got a good reputation with medicine, and obviously he said no, and I had to go find Laura and Heath. So I texted Heath, and when the message came back, you could hear I could just feel the excitement in the phone, and the way he responded. And he said, "Laura's interested. Before this is over with, we may take the whole family. I don't know." But they were excited, and it's really just come together. It's amazing how God has put it together in such a quick time period, and really interested to see what he's going to do with it. So where we'll be going is a town called Olanchito. Olanchito's in a valley. It's extremely hot there. Dole has some large plantations. They grow bananas and pineapples there. But we'll head up into the mountains, and the people there, they're small villages living in clay homes and huts, so to speak. They'll farm coffee, bananas, and corn. That's the three main crops that they'll grow. Some of the women will walk down the mountain 2 or 3 hours each morning and work on the Dole plantations. They don't make very much money at all. The men work from sun up to sundown. In June, while we were there, we did an eyeglass clinic. People 60 and 70 years old got eyeglasses for the first time in their life. You put a Bible in front of them, and they could actually see words on a piece of paper for the first time in 20 or more years. Women were going to be able to thread a needle and sew for the first time in a long time, and they just begin to cry. You know, their culture is. Women they have no standing within society and within the home. A lot of spousal abuse and those types of things. But in the church, the little small churches in each village, if the pastors often say we'll have 20, 25 people there, only 3 or 4 men. The rest are women and children. So part of what Heath was talking about, discipleship, it's really going to be, if women have no say in the family and no say in the community, the question is, how do you get men into the churches? And that'll be part of what we're doing, is trying to encourage men to be men of God and to answer the call, to be church leaders and that sort of thing. Lastly, over the past month, I've had the opportunity to get to know a guy in Trussville, Alabama. He runs a nonprofit organization called Designs for Hope. You guys don't know this. I don't think I've had an opportunity to tell you. But he has created and designed, he's a mechanical engineer. He's designed a battery that's solar powered. And the idea is that when the sun goes down, because a pastor would normally not be able to go into homes because there's no electricity, the man gets back to the home after working all day. Nighttime hours are not usually, there's no opportunity to minister at that time. This battery with some LED lights, a cell phone charger, those types of things, he can walk the trails, go to people's homes, sit down and actually pull out a Bible and read it with a light, actually see people that are in the room and share the gospel and do the things that a minister can, that we think they should be able to do. He'll be able to do that at night now. So really excited about partnering with them and having the opportunity to sort of test this out and see how it's going to work in villages. Most of all, just like to encourage you to support these guys. They're going to need you. They'll need their church, and I know they've been very confident in saying our church is going to get fired up about this. So thank you. We look forward to working with you.
Now, after Chad kind of approached us, we knew, I mean, it takes a lot of people for mission teams. I've, of course, been researching pretty heavily. One of the last mission trips, medical mission trips, that was in Honduras. They were there for 10 days. They saw over 700 patients. That's a little different than our 30 to 40 a day. You know, so we got our jobs cut out for us. So we was thinking, you know, we kind of went our separate ways. We started praying about, you know, needing help. Who else could we get that both was medical oriented and Christ oriented? So we're praying, and God kind of slapped us in the face a little bit, because he sent us a guy. He was a previous nurse in Birmingham before he went to take his job at the preacher, and ended up preaching here. So as Laura and I were fretting about the cost and, you know, getting him to pray with us and for us, and he hears about this, and he was on board before we even asked him. He's had experience. He's actually been to Honduras on mission trips. So he knows the culture, he knows the environment, and of course it can help on the medical side and the discipleship and Christ side. So Brother Michael's going to be going with us, of course. Now, from our medical side of the mission, what we're looking for, we're actually buying thousands and thousands of antibiotics, medical supplies such as wound care products, cleaning agents, feminine products. We'll have to take our own equipment. This will be carried in, carried out kind of stuff. We're looking at about $15,000. It's kind of our base average of what this trip is going to cost us. Now we have got Lake Martin Family Medicine, or the pharmacy, I'm sorry, Lakeshore Pharmacy and Medicine Shop. They're going to donate what they can as far as medications, but we will be purchasing large quantities of those. So any and all donations that may come to your heart, we'll certainly accept those. We're going to be doing lots and lots of fundraisers. We kind of mentioned a couple of them. We're going to be in town. We're going to be doing all sorts of things. But speaking of donations, if God lays it on your heart to donate to one of us or somebody, there's a couple ways we can do that rather than giving us the money. As far as getting a tax break, the easiest way would be to write a check to this church. The church sets it aside in an account. You can put the name of the person you want to donate to, or you can just generically write Honduras mission trip. The church would again provide you a statement at the end of the year, the donation statement showing that it was donated to, so you can use it on your taxes. The other way would be the company we're using, XMA, Extreme Missionary Adventures. You could write a check to them as well. Name of the person that you want to donate to. They put that towards our monies for that cost of the trip. Now I know some of y'all can't see, but you might be wondering why we're barefooted. I got a verse I want to read you, but I was hoping we might get a pedicure, but that's not going to work, I don't guess. But there's a verse, Romans 10, 14 and 15. I'm going to read it to you as you can see it on the screen. Just before this, verse 13, let me do that. It says, "For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved." And then 14, "But how are they to call on one whom they've not believed? And how are they to believe in one whom they've not heard? And how are they to hear without someone to proclaim him? And how are they to proclaim him unless they are sent? How beautiful are the feet that bring the good news." So we're very thankful and humbled to be the feet taking the good news. Thank you.